And you like your screen the way you have it?
Yeah, it's okay. I got all the important stuff covered.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have special guest on the show, Tyler Fisher, New York-based actor, stand-up comedian, and content creator. He was named Best New Impressionist by the New York Times and New York's Funniest Comedian at the New York Comedy Festival. No kidding. I was not in that, probably. He appeared on Last Comic Standing last week tonight with John Oliver, and Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I never heard of that guy. His viral content has tallied over 200 million views online. He is currently touring with his stand-up comedy around the country. Please welcome the talented Tyler Fisher. Hey, Tyler, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, and we've got the same touring agent now.
We have the same.
Congratulations.
Yes, so because of your success, maybe I'll be able to get some better gigs. We'll see. Maybe we'll see what happens. But I
threaten them.
I became aware of you on through YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. I watch those. It's like a drug to me. I can't stop. And you have a lot of those up. So that's when I realized that you and I shared the same agent. And I was like, hey, let's get Tyler on the show. And so you're doing these things. What I also like is that you do a lot of politics in your act, but you make it funny. Unlike most people who talk about politics.
You can hear. Can you hear? I don't know if you can hear that. I live in Brooklyn, and it's just an absolute hellhole here.
What part of Brooklyn, Tyler?
I'm Flatbush, and yeah. It's the part of the it's mostly black people and me. Right. Yeah. And it's been destroyed after COVID. They tricked everybody into not getting the COVID vaccine, but they're all still afraid of COVID. So it's a bunch of old black people walking around alone with masks on, pushing carts. It's the most depressing thing I've ever seen. Well, that's Eric Adams. And I don't do an Eric Adams impression because I don't do impressions of mentally retarded people.
Oh my God.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Fair enough. White guys can't do impressions of mentally retarded people. I found that out the hard way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who did you do? What did you do? Did you do an impression of? Hang on. Let me think.
Eric Adams?
No, not Eric Adams. Who's the guy?
Fetterman.
Did you do Wayne Fetterman? Is that
no, not Wayne Fetterman. John
Wayne
Fetterman.
I meant John Fetterman. No,
Wayne is of normal intelligence.
No, Wayne is normal.
Different Fetterman.
Who's the guy?
No, Sloth from the Goonies does a pretty good John Fetterman.
Okay, he does. That's what I call him, Sloth from the Goonies. Okay.
Yeah. So you mean you did an impression of Rappaport? That's what I said.
Oh, Michael Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport. That guy's
Eric Adams sounds like if Tracy Morgan got in a second car accident. He adds like S's on the. He adds an S to. The guy's a fucking idiot. New York City, New York City. I'm in New York City. That's what he sounds like. This guy's a fucking idiot.
No, I saw his last interview where he goes, anything could happen. You might have a plane crash into a building. You might have open up a great new business. That's why it's the greatest city on earth.
That's what he said? I think the New York Times called him the Black Trump. Did you see that?
That's because after he said we're a sanctuary city, he then said stop coming.
He said it's a sanctuary city, and then he tells him, "Nate, no, say, you know what? Turns out we're not. Stop coming."
Trump never said come in the first place, though.
Yeah, that was yeah. So
oh my God!
So that's why they called him the Black Trump. Yeah,
dude, New York's dumb now. Trump. It's a dumb. I feel like I did 20 years living there.
Yeah,
I feel like I did.
Where do you live now, Kurt?
In LA. I don't want to say LA so much better, but just in terms of space and weather.
Yeah,
and
less
mask wearing people. When I go to New York, I'm like. Every time I'm like, you do like the fat kid in the pool with a t-shirt. I know you think it's helping. It ain't doing nothing.
You know what's always funny to me is the people who got the vax and they still wear the mask.
What was the point of the vax if I got to wear a mask?
What was the point of it? What was the point of the vaccine?
You got to wear 3 masks. You got a triple mask. And then you got to put a bag over your head. And then a diaper over your kid's head with some duct tape. Where's that fucking guy gone? What?
Fauci, you talking about Fauci?
Yeah, Dr. Fauci. You got to get your 19th booster shot.
He retired after a job well done.
Yes, yeah, after a job well done. You got to wear a mask, but you can take it off if you're eating because COVID is very respectful of meal times. We know this.
I haven't recovered from the stupidity of all that. Sometimes it hits me like a bomb, and I go, I can't believe that happened, and that nobody's talking about it anymore. Just gone.
Every once in a while, I'll see.
We are, yeah.
Every once in a while, somebody showed me the first 5 minutes of David Cross's last stand-up special.
Was that
not aging well?
Was he all in on Ukraine as well?
He was all. I'm sure.
Take every bad take. Ukraine can win this thing. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. So I just want to show you did you do a lot of great impressions, and you do impressions that other people don't do, like you do Bill Burr, which is. Bill and I are good friends, and I just think this is hilarious. So let me play it for everybody.
We're doing this on a fucking Monday.
It's a good one.
Here we go.
We're doing this on a fucking Monday. Hi, I'm comedian Bill Burr, and this is my comedy masterclass. You fucking hold it like a man, not like a goddamn daffodil. In this 6-week comedy course, does that say 6 weeks? You think you could learn comedy in 6 fucking weeks? Try 30 fucking years, all right? Being lonely, fucking broke, you got no girlfriend, you got nothing. My freaking wife, she dragged me into this crap. Oh, Bill, you need to start doing videos. You need to expand your career. You should stop yelling at kids in public. I'm going to teach you how to pretty much get away with fucking anything, all right? Anything offensive. All you got to say is, I'm not trying to be a dick,
The other day I was working, and like this guy came in to order
What was going
coffee.
on in the cafe, Were the two dudes fucking making out, shoving their fucking tongues down each other's throats, huh? Making you a little uncomfortable, huh?
No,
fucking idiots!
they want okay.
Fucking millennials. Hashtag fucking idiot. You can't fucking teach comedy. Write that fucking down. The more you've been physically beaten, the funnier you get.
It was exhausting because as a mother,
I'm a stay-at-home mom. I gotta fucking walk around in pajamas and eat fucking Jello. Joke's gotta be in English, all right? That's a fucking rule.
I was just trying to talk about my heritage.
Well, I want to deport that joke. Fucking kick it over the border. Fucking brutal.
fucking brutal.
Okay.
I wasn't doing the laugh at that time, but it's more about.
That's dead on, dude.
Wow. So I don't know. So Bill responded to you doing it, right? Finally.
Yeah. So he never did, and people have been sending it to him for years. And I thought, I'm going to try one more thing to get his attention. So I was doing an impression of this really gay German guy who happened to do a perfect Bill Burr. So I go, maybe that'll get him. So I would do like, hi guys, my name is Franz, and I'm going to do a Bill Burr. Right, you guys are fucking brutal. Fucking brutal. and so that he responded to because he thought I was really this gay German guy. He's like, oh, this is gay German guy, right? And he does like a spot-on impression of me, right? And my wife comes in, Bill, you got it. I was like, shut the fuck up. I'm watching the game, but I'm like, it's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. So that's what got his attention was the gay German guy.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. Because I was Bill, like, well, how come you're the last working white guy in stuff?
Bill?
who's not like a gay guy, like the guy who could be Bill Burr. There's one left, which is Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
The master class should be how to be that guy, and that's why you better be a gay German doing them because there's not room for two. There's one left.
Yeah,
Bill. So that's why it's cool because the guy's gay. Oh, that's pretty good. And he's a gay. You could just be a white guy.
The shitty part was
Irish.
He never mentioned like, oh, that was Tyler Fisher. He really thought I was a gay German guy. So. This was years ago. I had no following. I was like kicked out of Hollywood for being a white guy. And
13 years ago? That's on you. That long ago?
No. I got fired for being white.
What?
From an agent emailed me and said it's tough out there for white guys, and he dropped me.
Wait,
I was like. Yeah, and now I'm suing a manager who then scouted me and said we will not work with you only because you're a straight white guy.
Dude, they say that. They say that shit out loud, and you're like, "That's illegal."
I fucking recorded it. I recorded it.
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. I was like,
Please do sue.
The pot has boiled over. It was building for years. Every year, I would get kicked out of I'd get an acting job, and someone would go, "We replaced you with a black fucking retard or whatever," and I was like, why am I putting? Did
you
up
record
with
that? Because that will hurt them in court.
No, it's now I have a lawsuit filed to the Supreme Court in New York City for for this.
Really?
I'm just done putting up with it. And I get shit on, and every night at the cellar, someone will go, "What are you doing? You dropped the case. What are you doing?" I'm like, you wouldn't say that to a black person.
Who told you to drop the case? Tell me the name.
Oh, everybody.
Was it Hot Tim? It better not have been.
Everybody,
I know
dude.
It wasn't him.
Everybody.
Yeah, New York is dumb now, and they're all on board with it. And I think it has something to do with like Fox and CNN all being there. Like, because everybody goes on those regular media.
Oh, is that
I used to go on all the time. And the bubble there, I mean, it's gone beyond bubble to like a plastic bag over your own head level of stupid,
Yeah.
So what's the case? Tell me about this case.
It's just a discrimination case,
Yeah,
I mean,
who discriminated against you?
Think about if a black person in New York City right now was told by an acting agent, "We're not going to hire you because you're a black man," and he recorded that fucking office would be burnt to the ground. There'd be protests. Every comedian would be on board.
Well, is he straight or gay though? If he's straight, I think they can say that.
So that actually happened.
No,
that happened, and you have it on tape.
Yeah, I have it on tape. Yeah,
Dude,
can you tell us who the agency is, or is that
AGI? Yeah, it's public. I think it's called AGI.
Yeah, they're all doing. That's the resistance. Yeah. The hashtag resistance.
And
I can't.
Give me the verbatim what he said. Come on.
They say that All Things Comedy said that. Well, not them, Bill's company, but the production company working with them. Told my manager, we can't take a white guy. So I talked to Al Madrigal. That's Bill's company. And I go, dude, I'm not going to sue. Just so you know, with this person, some of my manager is illegal. I mean, you should have a word with them because somebody else will sue you. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I didn't know. Yeah, we shouldn't. His company, Bill's company, worked with a guy. They hated the guy. And I was like, well, why you work? I don't care. Whatever. It's for a Quibi job. So I'm not like.
Quibi.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, I'm not like worried about it. But literally in those words, they say that. Literally in those words, people will say that shit. I'm so glad you recorded it. Because normally people will tell you, shut up. Like if Cornel West were here, he'd be like, come on. That's why it's
they told you.
Well, they scouted me, first of all. So they scouted me, sent their people out to watch me do stand up. And I fucking kill. Right? I kill. I kill. I'm at the cellar 5 times a night. I kill. I'm not ashamed to say that. And they said, we want to work with you, and we want, every fucking year some agent would come in. We're going to get you on SNL. We're going to get you this. And then he called me and he goes, we love you. We think you're the next big thing, but we can't take you because you're a straight white guy. I hit record and I said, can you say that again a little slower? And
he did?
Yeah. And then I said, is that company policy that you're not going to work with straight white men? And he goes, yes.
Oh, please go all the way with that.
Oh, I would give up. This is people. See, people don't know I'm like a little guy, right? So people think I'm unassuming. I will fucking die on this hill. I don't give a shit. They robbed me of my acting career. I put in 18 years. I studied acting.
Dude, whoever at the cellar told you to drop it, tell them. Me personally, I told them they're a. Well, can I say cunt on the show?
Sure.
They're a cunt. Tell them Kurt said to tell you you're a cunt.
Oh,
it's probably a friend of mine. Tell them I said they're
every
a cunt.
night. Every night. I don't care. If you're going to stand up to any of this shit, you're going to get eaten alive. You have to be able to put up with it. And so, I'll go all the way. They wanted to settle. I told them to go fuck themselves. I didn't even ask how much money. I don't care. I'm so sick of this. Last night on stage, somebody, starts screaming at this white woman going, "You're just an entitled white woman." And I'm like, why is this okay? This is not okay to be blatantly racist. Huh?
Well, but why? Because I could see someone being an entitled white woman. It's weird to say that, but why were they saying that?
What does the race have to do with it? Again, if that comedian said, you fucking entitled black bitch, shut up, he would be fired that night and he would never step foot in the Comedy Cellar again.
Well, we have the word Karen for a reason. Dane Cook invented the term Karen for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
So,
but I know what you're saying. Like the thing about
it has nothing to do with race. There's cunty black women and Indian women. There's horrible people, but now it's okay. It's socially okay to hate on somebody if they're white with no repercussion.
I think the reason why is because, white people ruled the world. We slaughtered the Indians. We enslaved the blacks. We did Jim Crow. And now
the blacks enslaved the blacks as well. The blacks are who sold.
I'm talking about in this country.
But for years, you could
we didn't
always make
invent
fun
it.
of whites. That's never been a problem for years.
So, but that's that. I mean, that's why. And then so.
But if we're doing the boohoo
and there's
thing,
all those, there's all those studies that show that you can't, from not being able to get a cab to other things like that. I mean, so there's an.
It doesn't justify punishing people who had nothing to do with that, and that's exactly what this is. We're going to justify it because you have the same skin color of somebody who did something bad in the past.
No,
but so does a black person because their ancestors sold them to.
Right. I'm just explaining why it became okay, and because they're the whites are the majority, and they're
put it a better way,
the minority. So it's more of if when a white person does it, it's seen more as a bully punching down, and if a person of color does it to someone who's white, then it's more of like I'm fighting against the oppressor. So
it's seen that way,
that's why
that's not the reality.
So that's why
before you could openly tell people they can't get hired because they're white, that was what it was. But now that you're openly discriminating for work, people ain't going to feel that way no more. I know if I've been told, and I have been told that, I'm not going to go, okay, we're all going to be like pussies about our identity, right? That's identity politics leads to more identity politics.
That's right.
And resentments.
We take down identity politics all the time here at the show. But like there are certain things, like I mean, like I don't think I think it's okay that black people use the N-word and white people don't. I think that still makes sense. Does that make sense?
I got fired for the N-word.
Oh, no kidding.
Non-vaccinated.
Oh, really?
That was worse than the N-word at that point in time.
So Jimmy, you also point out the idea that white people are also oppressed by white people.
Yeah.
So what color was the comic saying?
So
I think is the question.
So that's another thing too. Like when I push back against people talking about, white supremacy or whatever, and I always make that point that most white people are also oppressed by other white people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so it's just
the manager that told me to fuck off because I'm white was white.
Right. So there you go.
Was the comic white saying that to the? Because this is. I mean, I had somebody say it to me, like a friend of mine who was mad because I tweeted making fun of Democrats screwed up on Roe v. Wade and we're asking for money. And you go, for a white male to what? And I go, first of all, dude, you're a whiter male than me. Why are you calling me white male like I'm supposed to have shame about? But I think it has nothing to do with that. Like
I've never had it.
Well, white male's a slur now. It's a slur. It's
I don't hear from black people. I hear
slur.
from white people at me. It's crazy.
So just being, I've heard from gay white people who say that being a cisgendered gay white person is just as bad as being
with me.
Is just as bad as
right.
being a straight white male. It's like it doesn't matter anymore if you're cisgendered. Whatever that means.
In the stupid progressive stack, that was always an idiot idea.
Like to be a gay white male like that, what I've been told, it's like you're barely given that kind of credit. That LGBT
since the trans movement took over, that's why. They took precedent. Then it's like, well, if you're not trans, you're just a straight white guy.
And do you agree that I think most of that trans stuff and all this gender stuff, it doesn't come from the grassroots. It comes from the top down. Like it comes from places like BlackRock and Vanguard, and we've covered that. So what they do is they shroud themselves in that ESG and DEI, and that is their shield against them raping the planet. They go, but it's just like the CIA. Look, we have women of color now invading other countries, stealing their resources and killing them. Look, we have gay people. They put the pride flag on bombs that they're dropping. It's like that used to be a joke, and now they're doing it. And so anyway,
well, a lot of the white hate has actually stopped since the Israel-Palestine thing. It's been like a wonderful vacation from being responsible for everything. It actually, I get like a month off. I mean,
well, when I first came to Hollywood, I was certainly made aware of that. That hey, it's the last thing they're looking for is another straight white male. But
See, when I started 24 years ago,
I always felt like, well, I mean, I also did enjoy certain privileges from being white, like with police and things like that. If I put on a suit coat And I do it on purpose. When I go to New York, wherever, and I want to walk around town, I'm going to put on a suit coat, and I'm going to be my whitest white, and make sure that. So I always felt like, well, if it makes
the majority of cops in New York are not white now.
Right,
so
right.
It's the thing. All of this stuff is crumbling now because, like, again, you look at the Israel-Palestine thing. Now it's like, who's more oppressed, the brown people or the slightly less brown people? As white people become, lower and lower in the population, it's that you're gonna have the same oppression issues, except it's gonna be who's darker or who's slightly more oppressed.
It's gonna be who's richer is going to look down, find a reason to hate the. New York, the reason it's like that is a bunch of people moved who were not rich, and then there's people on welfare, and then the people who could afford to live there still. All that medium part.
Well, that's
out.
why.
So now you have rich people. They don't. We can't hire white. See, they always used to say they're not looking for white guys, which was shut up. But fine, that's fine. But to have someone go, "Oh no, we want you," but simply because of the color of your skin, we cannot take you. They weren't saying stuff like that. This is like a new thing. It's been going on for a few years because very few people sue.
Over 5 years.
Yeah,
it's just not okay.
From Bill's company they're working with.
So, you guys are going to get me in trouble saying all this shit. This is not this interview has taken a turn.
Saying that you shouldn't be racist against white people, how terrible.
That's fundamental. You know what? You're sounding. You know what? Who says shit like that? White supremacist, Tyler. And that's exactly what you're sounding like right now. Is a goddamn white supremacist. And
I'm a guy whose career was robbed because
I'm going to say you're probably cisgendered. You're probably cisgendered, aren't you?
Blatant racism.
Look, here's the bottom line.
Oh,
if black people are racist, concessions.
Wait, if black
you're
people
just going to keep going?
Yeah, because there's an important point. If black people are racist to me, I don't care. This is white people in power are racist against me. So don't be racist.
Why don't you care if a black person is racist? Why is it okay if a black person is racist toward you?
I walked at the cellar by the Cafe Wa, the black Israelites, so I was fine with them. I don't really care about your feelings inside. I care about what you do. So, if, for instance, you have the power to keep me from getting a job I should get, I care a lot about that. Haven't met a lot of black people in charge of that. I met white people who.
I mean, you do understand that, like, so black communities are way over policed. That's why black and brown people are way overrepresented in the prison population. And if a white person commits the same crime as a black person, especially with cocaine and drugs like that, it's way over enforced. So you do acknowledge stuff like that, right?
Do I would. You'd have to show me all of those numbers. I'm not just going to take that at face value. Again, the majority of the cops in New York aren't white. So if those are the people that are policing, then the racist cops are the black and brown ones. And then so how do you justify that? Are those white supremacist cops?
That's it. What? How do I get put in this position?
See, here's what you're doing.
I'm going to fucking defend cops now. I have to. What are you doing? What kind of jujitsu are you pulling on me here?
If any white person has some sort of discrimination or racism, this is what happens. They go, yeah, but other people have it worse and bad, rather than just facing the actual issue, which is it's blatant racism and discrimination, and it's not okay. We got to focus. It's like. We can't just keep distracting, going, yeah, that's what other people will say to me. Go, yeah, but other people have had it worse at this time and at this, it's like, I don't give a shit. This is my life. I'm not going to sacrifice it.
Okay.
So I'm suing them.
That's great. It's great you're suing them.
It is great.
It's great you're suing them. I'm actually very happy you're doing that.
Do you know how many people come up to me at the comedy clubs, like constantly and go, dude, the same thing happened to me.
Yeah, it's making me angry thinking about it, actually.
Every fucking night. I go, well, stop being a pussy and do something about it. You're 45 years old and you're working at 3 a.m. Go do something about it. And I'm done being that guy that's whispering in the back of a comedy club.
Me being able to work don't have nothing to do with, by the way, the very racist system that, of course, the reason we have drug laws is specifically to arrest black. We don't have any drug laws that weren't for a racist reason. Not one. The vaccine that was, I'm safe and effective, don't get me wrong. They don't take care with drugs like that unless they see race mixing going on, or like Mexicans make money on weed, or the cocaine's illegal because a black guy, they made a rumor you couldn't stop him with bullets if they take cocaine. All that's true. Nothing to do with me getting a job that I should get and saying, oh, I'm sorry because you're white. How does that help anybody in jail? It doesn't. And what it does is actually harm everything even more, because now you have people have their resentment built up. Again, I don't care about
now it's
someone-
like, I don't want to hear a fucking thing about race. If you're going to tell me I can't have my
I don't
job
wanna hear
because of
from
my race, but I should go out and protest for other people. It's like, no, I'm done.
But in
I was a
fairness,
pretty far
Tyler,
left Democrat,
in
and
fairness-
now I am so done with any of this diversity, equity, inclusion bullshit, and it's all based on discrimination and racism.
But in fairness,
That's how it operates.
Tyler, that white woman in the crowd, white women are who push that the most. All that stuff you're talking about is really enforced the most by white women. I mean, like, they're the number
Yeah, but
ones.
you should. Oh yeah, maybe.
isn't
But I'm
that
not
a little-
going to then hate white women because
Now,
of
aren't
that.
you
I'm not
doing the
gonna-
exact thing that you just complained about someone doing, calling someone out for being white? You just called out white women for being
I was
white
talking about the one in
women.
the crowd. He said,
You just did it.
Entitled white women? I lived in New York for 20 years.
But you're doing that thing you just said you did. You hated. You're calling out white women for being white.
I don't care about insults. I care about discrimination. At a comedy club, you can call me whatever the hell you want. I don't care. Black people at a comedy club, they're on stage, hey, white, you're corny. I don't care. It's a comedy club. I'm talking about being discriminated at a job. So he's had the story of somebody, you're an entitled white woman. Well, what'd she do? Because I've had a lot of them. Well, and also, the
But I'm
reason
saying
we've been
that's
talking
where
like
it
this is 'cause of that.
starts.
College educated white women.
If you make little concessions like that, go, all right, it's okay to call her a piece of shit white woman. It's all right to generalize about. As those things became more acceptable, then it's like, well, why not fire them because they're white? He's just an entitled little white guy. Why not take away his career?
On stage,
so my
I
point
don't-
is like, it's good to.
yeah.
I called it out and I made a joke about it. And I went on stage as an immigrant, which I'll do
I've
if
seen you
someone's
do
shitting
that.
on white people.
I've seen
Are
you
you
yeah,
an
do that.
immigrant?
No, I'll go and I just became a citizen, and then everybody,
I saw
applauds,
that. It's
and
hilarious.
I'll make fun of trans people and all this thing, and everyone's wooing and stuff, and I'll go, I'm actually from Connecticut. I just knew I wasn't going to get away with that, and so I'll see,
I've seen him do that. It's pretty genius.
and
Like that.
I'll lead like fuck white guy, or I'll be a gay, a gay immigrant, and go, let's lead a fuck white guy chant, and I'll get people to say horrible things. Just to kind of see how far I can push it.
So, I did not think I was going to talk about any of this shit today. This is really.
Well, I don't want to.
You know
Well,
how
it's
many-
kind of why I'm here, though.
Yeah.
This is relevant because all of this stuff happened to me. That's why I started making YouTube videos. I was a Hollywood actor. I was in TV shows, right? I was like scouted by all of the. I met with Jim Carrey's agent every fucking month. I'm being flown out to Hollywood. Suddenly, the carpet's ripped under my feet, and I'm told by everybody, like, we have too many white guys. Fuck off. Comedy Central. We have too many white guys. Fuck off. I was supposed to have a follow-up show to Impractical Jokers. I do all these viral prank videos, and they said, sorry, can't do the show with two white guys. I had a development deal. This was happening every single month for 5 years until I was literally like suicidal. I was like, what's the point of this? What's the point? Why am I working so hard? And so after COVID hit, I didn't get the vaccine. Then I got fired from all the comedy clubs. So it's like, I can't work because I didn't get a stupid vaccine. I can't work because of my skin color. Why am I supporting these democratic policies? Why am I doing this? Fuck this. So I created a studio in my house, started making videos, and now have over 1 million followers online. I can tour the country, make a killing. And so it's kind of why I'm here. So that it's relevant in a way. And
that's great, man. Because
it's worth fighting for, because I'm like the only guy fighting for this shit. Everybody else in New York's like, shut up, sit down, don't fight it. I'm thinking about the 18-year-old kid who wants to go to school for acting, who's being told before they even go, don't bother because they're not hiring white guys. Like, this is going to destroy so many people's lives, including minorities, because they're taking, I've seen it happen to a lot of comedians, brand new comic, 2 years out the gate. They put them on SNL, or they put them, at the Cellar. They put them on a TV show
that they're not ready
they don't
for.
have
Yes.
Kurt, you know what it takes, man. Both you guys know.
I know what you're talking about very
your
much,
skin
by the
needs
way.
to be fucking iron, and so it's destroying all types of people's lives and careers. And so,
well, because then it's not just that, you got to also be solid Democrat on every level. Like,
Yeah.
your politics have to be solid. When I was
That's a
just
newer
making
thing, but
minor,
yeah.
I don't even make huge vaccine jokes or anything like that.
I do.
No, I know. The minor ones I did.
I did a whole special called "COVID Lies Are Funny"
Yeah, well,
because
all
everything
I
they
did,
said about COVID was a lie. Everything.
well, don't say it in New York because
Yeah.
they won't care for it. I said, Well, you got your own crowd. When I said that invading Ukraine cured COVID, that whole bit.
Yeah.
Half of them in the bigger one, the fat black pussycat around the corner, got so weird, like I was being subversive to both vaccines and which I was, but I've never seen. I
always thought that. I went from Chicago to L.A. I didn't go from Chicago to New York, and so my idea of what New York comedy was always rougher, grittier.
It was,
and that you were free to be to have more Lenny Bruce like, right, and then Los Angeles. Yeah. But you're telling me that it's even worse now in Manhattan?
I told you last time I went and came back, I couldn't believe it. LA used to be stupid town, and New York was like a little better. Nope.
Most comedy now is like a diversity training meeting. I mean, I usually go up after 5 people being.
He's not exaggerating. It's exactly what he's saying.
Yes. And I use it to my advantage because if you go up after that and then you counter it or you do something like I'll pretend to be more oppressed than the 5 other comics who are complaining about being oppressed while working at the Comedy Cellar, which is one of the hardest clubs to get in the world after they've been doing stand-up for 2 years. So I'll pretend to be the trans, whatever, gay, vegan, lesbian, and I'm starting to have fun with it. I'm almost using it as like a debate rather than, being resentful about it. But no, it's brutal, man. I was escorted out of that place because I didn't have a vaccine.
You're out of what place?
All the comedy clubs. I mean, I had just gotten in all the clubs, and they're like, you need to email us your vaccine card. And I'm not going to lie to them. No, I'm not getting the vaccine. All right, well, fuck off.
You wouldn't lie? Why wouldn't you lie? I would have.
Because I have morals. This is the thing. Like, we talk about men being weak. Like, have a fucking spine. No, I'm not getting a rushed experimental vaccine pushed through regulations by Donald Trump. And it was warp speed. You remember, Jimmy, warp speed, right? Warp speed, right? So quick. I was called a Trump extremist for not getting the vaccine that Donald Trump was pushing.
Well, that's
warp speed, right?
Yeah.
They said no. They said it'll take 10 years to make it, Jimmy. I made it in 2 days. That's how quick it was. 2 days. A couple mixtures. We mixed up a couple things. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I'm losing my fucking mind here. I wasn't a Trump guy.
That was a great
push towards one.
That was a great sleight of hand. Trump wants credit for the warp speed. He wants credit for the vax. And somehow, if you push back against the vax, which is what I did, they will call you a Trumper. I'm like, no, Trump wants credit for the vax. Trump is the one who pushed it through. Trump's in bed with the FDA. He's in bed with the big pharma. This is not a Trumper thing. This is a classic lefty thing. So people who went from protesting GMOs in food went to calling you a Trumper if you were
for not getting Trump's vaccine.
For not getting Trump's vaccine. It's Trump's vaccine.
Define insanity. I mean, and by the way, insanity.
Tyler, do you remember before Trump lost the election, they had Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Joyanne Reid. I have video of all of them saying, well, if it's Trump vaccine, I ain't going to take it.
I ain't getting it. Exactly. And I used to watch CNN every day. I believed CNN was the truth in the news because that's what was on TV when I grew up. So I watched it every fucking day. I'm like, I'm not getting the vaccine. Biden becomes president. Suddenly you're a racist if you don't get it. I'm fired. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
So I just, I understand. I haven't gone through your experience of people literally telling me we would make your dreams come true. Everything you worked for, we would give you that, except you're white.
It used to be an exaggeration.
That didn't happen to me.
Oh, that used to be something racist exaggerated about. Now it is true, especially New York.
And I would never say it if I couldn't cite it. I wouldn't do my career didn't take off, so it's probably because I'm white. No, I don't do that shit. Everything I have evidence for.
But let me ask you that. Aren't most of the people still on television? Aren't most of them still white? Aren't most of the people in movies still white? Aren't most of the people on Saturday Night Live still white? Am I wrong? I don't watch it, but aren't so
you can't be white and funny. You can be
so like if every person of color who's in entertainment got a job, aren't still 80% of the jobs wide open for white people? That's what I
no. The DIY or the diversity, equity, whatever shit,
inclusion.
Every company's like, will put the halt on any white people and let's just bring in so it's almost like the white people have the representation of what black people make up in the pot. It's flipped. And if you watch a lot of shows now, it's like 70-30. And I'm not gonna like break down the percentages. But
the grandfathered in people are the ones telling you not to sue. The people who still got to have their job, those pussy ass white dudes are like, I don't think it's a problem. That's because they still got their job and they got grandfathered in.
So I remember when I first moved to Los Angeles, I would have people complain. Like, I remember, I don't want to name. He probably wouldn't care that I name him, but I remember he was complaining about affirmative action. And my argument against people complaining about affirmative action is if every black and brown person got a job, there would still be 80% or 70% of the jobs available for you to go get. And I would mock him by saying, what's it like being a good-looking white guy in America? It's got to be tough, right? Because he was a handsome, good-looking guy with talent.
Did he not get a thing because of affirmative action?
He must not have gotten a thing. And so he was complaining about affirmative action. And I was like, but if every one of the person of color got a job, there would still be all these other jobs available to you.
Well, they did strike it down here because it was not constitutional or legal. They ended it here, right?
Ended what?
Affirmative action.
Did they? I don't know.
Yes.
Did they?
I think for college admissions, I think, right?
Yes, they ended that.
Well,
because it was against.
Because they're screwing all the Asians.
They should have
the
paid
Asians got
reparations a long time
That's
ago.
right. So I think that the argument against affirmative action is that it just creates more racial divide. And that you have to find another way to. I understand that.
Yeah, when you hire people based on race and not by merit or talent or
yes,
or,
so that
make up a good. Employee.
That was a bad remedy to the discrimination that was real in America, and that really happened, right? We really did. There was red line laws. Black people weren't allowed to live in certain communities. They weren't allowed to have certain jobs. They were way overrepresented in the prison population. All that kind of stuff. That's all real, right? So, but the remedies that they came up with I just created more racial division and strife instead of lifting.
They used the same tactics.
Right.
They used discrimination.
We're going to
fight. So it's all fine and good when it doesn't happen to you. When it happens to you, you go, wait a minute. I'm not going to be a sacrificial lamb for this. I'm not going to give up my job. I had nothing to do. I have been like a warrior for the far left my whole life. I grew up. My dad came out of the closet when I was a kid. I was raised in gay bars. My brother's gay. My cat's gay. My whole family's gay. I was like, raising money for AIDS, road races, and got mental. I was like the perfect Democrat. And then they said, actually, we want you to sacrifice your life. And it's like, wait a minute. No, I've been fighting for all this, but you're not going to use the same solution that they used in the,
You're lucky you didn't get a fake Me Too on top of it.
So I had a fake. I had a fake Me Too.
That's where that
I've had plenty. I just wasn't famous.
That's where that started in New York. I helped, obviously, because I'm an award-winning feminist writer, which makes me sick to my stomach when I think about it. But that nonsense where you don't get due process and Mattress Girl, that when what's her name was on.
Well, now she's flipped. She became a right-winger, Mattress Girl.
I was right there when that stuff was going on, and that's why I feel comfortable from a stage. I don't mean discriminating on someone's job, making fun of white women. That's what it was. Dippy future cat ladies who saw Sex in the City and went to college there and decided due process should go away, and all these people got on board, all these dipshit liberals. Well, we're collectively responsible. Well, did you do something? Because I didn't. No, I'm not collectively responsible. So
well,
I got going to go to race from that.
Well, we all agree that collective punishment is wrong in war. But so why would it be okay anywhere else? Go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I was going to say, as far as the Me Too thing, this is before I had any following. I got blacklisted from, I forget the agency, from an acting agency because I asked out one of the agents on Bumble.
And so what is, I don't know what Bumble is. I'm old.
Bumble's a dating app. I matched with an agent. Okay. I matched with a comedy agent, right? And I asked her out. She said, wait a minute, are you a comedian? I said, yeah. She goes, well, I'm an agent, so I don't date comedians. And my friend goes, I know her. She would love your comedy. You should just ask her out to coffee. Because this is back when dating apps were also networking. Like you can do both on there. You can choose, I want to date or network. So I said, hey, could we get a cup of coffee? I'd love to show you my comedy. She flipped out, wrote me like 5 paragraphs, and had me blacklisted from her agency.
She's the one in industry power, more than a comic trying to find an agent when he's new.
Right.
But she made it like you're the powerful one.
So you couldn't think of like a more like Me Too situation that's
New York dingbat.
So wait a minute, you got in trouble for asking someone out on a date?
Yeah, this is real. This is what goes on. It's been going on for years.
So I guess I am out of touch, man.
Yeah, no,
it's brutal.
the biggest dipshits in the world, and they've been festering. That's why when Ramaswamy, Vivek was like his book Woke Inc. That's great. You wrote that book, Vivek.
About 20 years late.
Yeah, and when the stuff he's saying, I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. Because when I would tell people about this stuff back then, no, that's not. You just dismiss you. Well, it did happen. And then it got worse and worse, and now everybody can't believe it. But I got in trouble for calling it out a long goddamn time ago, and I couldn't believe the number of punk ass comedians.
I saw that happen. So there was
I was right, by the way.
There was someone who was accused of not only sexual harassment but of rape at a comedy.
UCB has done an clown school,
and so
has found someone guilty of rape.
So they found someone guilty of rape.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and your point was, which is a completely sober point.
Mike Shea's point, but it was okay because he's black. But I love him. But it was okay because he's black.
Your point is that if someone actually did commit a rape, don't you think you should call the cops and have the cops investigate this?
Well, you're gonna have raping the victim, Jimmy.
You're gonna have a bunch of comedians investigate it, and then they're gonna come to a monthly
show. That's enough punishment.
And they're gonna come to a conclusion. Like,
it's hard to get a monthly show at UCB.
But that's what you got. I used to have one, but that's when you got, then that's what you got in trouble for, because you demanded, like, there's got to be some kind of due process. I felt the same way when I defended Alex Jones I defended his freedom of speech rights when he got deplatformed in a conspiracy of all the social media companies did it at once. That's a real conspiracy. It actually happened. And I'm like, well, if you're going to allow it to happen to him without any due process, they're going to do it to you. And of course I was right. It went from Alex Jones. It went from Alex Jones to the leading doctors and scientists in their field, to the leading journalists, to the former president of the United States.
All the way to Ben Glebe.
So they'll do it. So I was right, of course. So that's what, and so if they can do that to people with a hashtag Me Too without any due process. I remember it was Believe All Women until it came down to Joe Biden, and that's when Believe All Women went out the window.
Now it's Believe All Kids. That's the new thing.
Oh, really?
12-year-old wants to cut their dick off.
Not about pedophiles, but about being trans.
Oh, yeah.
But no, that's a conspiracy. Pedophiles, they don't exist. Only women get attacked.
They're called MAPs, okay? Minor attracted people, not pedophiles.
Yeah, everybody's, because they're worried about their stupid career, and I don't want to. Take your lawsuit away, Tyler.
But I just want to. So nobody is saying that real discrimination of black and brown people wasn't a real.
Literally, no one said that.
Right.
No one said that. I think it's time we don't even need to bring that up. No one's ever said that. It doesn't even
have any bearing on it. He said he got discriminated, because discrimination turns out is real all around.
It has nothing to do with anybody else. I'm not fighting for anybody but myself.
Oh, I better not say something happened to me, because that could reflect on this thing that has nothing to do with me. That's how you get taught to think as a guy that was a liberal. They were getting fights with people all the time on stupid Facebook. And
that's why you don't go on Facebook.
What got me in trouble, even though I was right, is people started, because I didn't understand the mobs. Back then they called them SJWs. Remember that? And those people, those dingbat college fucking twerps, they moved up the ladder, because it's all rich kids that were saying this drivel.
Yeah.
That's all gender studies and queer, all the fat studies, every bullshit thing you pay $80,000 a semester, whatever they pay for. They all moved up in media and government, and now they're in charge of censoring vaccine information, or at Twitter to make sure Alex Jones can't get back on. And all those people moved up the ladder while I was doing comedy, and now they're destroying things because millennials are older now. Now they got their own kids. So they're the worst generation, I think, of all time. If you were going to call, when I think of like just the most like appalling, like snotty, everything you just said that happened to you just put a flood of memories back to me.
Yeah, Kurt, have you recovered from? So I'm not too familiar with what happened to you. I know like the gist of it, but you got like, did you lose work from that?
Yeah.
No, I got blackballed. I mean, or I wasn't whitelisted. Maybe I went. I don't think there's like they physically made a blacklist, but yeah, no, I couldn't. People go, oh, we can't, because that's around the beginning of they look up on Google.
You were right at the cusp of hashtag Me Too. That's when that happened.
Hashtag Me Too's later.
Yeah, I mean, you were before.
I guess you're right. And then what really screwed up comedy business, woke was never killing comedy. Tyler's funny on his own without being on anything, and people who are funny are funny. What woke did was kill corporate institutional shows like your SNLs
Right.
and your sitcoms. It can't kill comedy. Comedy is just like it's like saying you could like nuke the weather.
It just moved onto the internet. We just squeezed it out of that.
And
now
I always used
look
to
at your
wonder,
show, Jimmy. Look at.
I wondered why the hell I'm just a clown for a living. Can you just leave me alone? Like, why is this a big deal? Because actually, if you're really funny, it is a goddamn danger. It's a huge danger to the pieces of shit that want to crush everybody else's speech.
There's that video we show of Kids in the Hall from 25, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago, where they made fun of all this stuff, and they could by the way, they had a show again, and they didn't. I don't think they came close to touching anything as controversial as that.
Because you don't want to get drummed out of show. It's gotten so. The thing that people miss the point about, I guess Woke Inc. probably Vivek's book acknowledges it, is 25 years ago. Yeah, that's Canada. Like academic Fruit Loops all said this nonsense for many years. It goes back to the 60s. There's no way it would go all around America unless every one of these scumbag companies, they got so scared by Occupy Wall Street, they're like, we got to divide people up real quick because they're all together about how we suck. And that's when they pick these they pick out choice maniacs. Oh, what do you think? Kids can consent at 6? College professor, I'd like you to come and start teaching people things. These companies did it on purpose. That's what identity politics are for, to distract from, it doesn't cost anything. It's a way for them to pretend like they're doing something that doesn't cost any money.
That's right.
It costs you money.
That's right. So what we say at this show is that identity politics is a distraction from keeping people from organizing along class lines and actually opposing the oligarchy. And so they want us talking about race and gender and sexuality and fighting over it and trans issues, and because that keeps us divided and it keeps everybody on edge. And
you think they're that smart, though? You don't think? I think that's.
I know
part
they
of
are.
It.
Look around.
Yes, look around. It worked.
I think it's
like a charm.
The other part of it is just how this tribalism, how it's like, oh, you can put the flag up on your thing and that makes you a moral person, and then you don't actually have to go out and be a good person, and that picks up steam so quick. You saw with the vaccine. I couldn't believe how fast that became.
Would you say lockstep?
Lockstep, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Rockefeller.
Well, Tyler, I have to remind people that the vaccine is safe and effective, and while it won't stop the transmission or contraction, it certainly slows it, and it'll keep you from being seriously hospitalized, sick, or dead. So
it's about that way.
It's fantastic.
Warp speed.
You should have 8 by now. You should have 8 shots by now. Are they firing any of the clubs for not having all 8 of their shots?
Well, that's the scary thing. It's like, and I just started a YouTube membership thing. So I make all of my money from touring right now. And I'm like, if another virus comes, another thing happens, I'm fucked. Like.
By the way, it's coming. There's another one coming.
But I suspect they'll be fucked because I don't think people are going
to go along as hard as they went along the first time. No. I went along with it until I got vaccine injured. And then when I looked into it because of that, I had a guy, a doctor treating me. I was in a program in a study to try to treat people like me, and I was given ivermectin, and I was like, whoa, that's that horse paste stuff. And then I got it explained to me, no, Jimmy, this is on the WHO list of essential medicines. It's a Nobel Prize winning medicine. They were looking to see if it could actually cure cancer before COVID, but now if ivermectin can treat COVID, they can't get their emergency use authorization for the vaccines, which is why they've been shitting on it so hard like this and trying to make you think it's not for human beings when it's one of the most prescribed drugs in human history for human beings. So
can you hear the cops? I'm literally about to get arrested for this.
I think we are. But
by the way, for the record, when that stuff came down on me, the people that all circled wagons around me the most were all my black friends. It was all white people.
But I would tell you the truth. When I would go to when COVID lifted, and I would go to comedy green rooms. It was the black comics who were more on board with my message.
Because they already knew how it works.
But with my message about COVID, they were the ones who got it more. Unlike, unfortunately, unlike Cornel West when he came on the show and pretended like he was
my body, my choice. What happened to that? That's all I was following. I was just doing. I was doing. So my due diligence of what I was taught.
I said that to a comedian who was pro-mandate. And I said, whatever happened to my body, my choice? And literally the response was, that only applies to pregnancy.
You said it not as a joke?
No, that's not a joke. That's what said. The
only thing you can harm is your baby.
all that shit and I said, why does it only apply to pregnancy? And he said, because pregnancy is not contagious. And I was like, well, you know what is contagious? Your stupidity, because it's catching on like wildfire. And that's a direct quote from a comedian. I'm not making that up. And that's why
they just shift things. They'll just shift them to make them fit their dumb narrative. It's just a constant oblivion of shifting bullshit to fit whatever CNN is telling them. It
is a hard sell, though, don't you think, Tyler, to come out and say I'm an oppressed white guy in America? It is going to be a hard sell.
No more, it ain't. I immediately resonated with him because I know what he's talking about. People who don't know will go, oh,
well,
can't be 2012 about it. It's what they're literally saying. It sounds
I'm not even
crazy,
saying I'm an
it?
oppressed white guy.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't do that. I don't go, I'm a white guy. No one ever did that. We were taught to take your race out of it. That's what Martin Luther King taught. And now we're doing the polar opposite. So it's a pretty cut and dry, which is discrimination is illegal. That's it. It's not about race. It's not about black or white. It's just you're not allowed to do it. And so, I guess I can have a woke jury that goes against it, but
yeah, it's just like January 6th. If you're tried in DC, you're going to get convicted. But if they try you anywhere else in the country, you won't get convicted, which is why they're making all those trials happen.
Dude, you got a strong ass case because that idiot. I can't believe you said, can you say it more slowly? Are you allowed to use that in court? Because don't the yes, you are. New York, you can.
Yeah, New York,
you can't.
In
LA,
New York,
you can't record people secretly. New York,
so in California,
100% you can.
In California, you have to have two-party consent. And in New York, you don't. Well, good for you then. Yeah, sounds like I think I would take this.
Well, if you're white, you can do anything, right? You can literally do anything. That's what I'm fucking told. That's what I'm told every fucking day. People go, you're white. You have everything. I go, you literally robbed me of my life. You took everything, and you're telling me I'm privileged and I have everything at the same time. Go fuck yourself.
Remember what was that Dylan Roof, or what was the guy who he was a mess? He went and did a shooting spree, and then the cops took him to like Burger King.
Yes, well, that's to make sure you get a confession 100%. You do whatever you can because we cannot risk this one not going all the way. Can we treat this kid nice? He'll tell us the whole thing. Slam dunk. That's why they would do that.
Okay.
It's not because they want to do something nice for a white criminal with a Dumb and Dumber haircut, which is what he had. He had that bull haircut. I don't know why.
That's why I might get some Burger King out of this.
First of all, they don't just do that for white guys. Mike Epps had a great joke about how in the first 48, like people always tell, and he's like, the dude tells the other guy for a Red Lobster ultimate feast, like that's a regular thing, bribing someone with crappy food to get them to say what they did on paper, and then you slam dunk. You can't have that case fail, God forbid. Can you imagine?
Okay, let me.
It would really suck. Yeah. What do you think Jordan Peterson would think about this?
This is what I think.
What about the men?
This is what I think Jordan Peterson might think about. But let me. But I will say, I just have to say that I feel your pain. Like Bill Clinton would say, I feel your pain, as he said like this. But I still think there's advantages to being white in America, and certainly when it comes to the prison system, when it comes to the justice system, they're way
which has nothing to do with.
It has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It has nothing to do with what they're talking.
You're so brainwashed. Holy shit! Look at you having to apologize. Like you're self-hating. I don't know what your politics are, but
he's a self-hating Jew, just like my friend that told me about Israel.
Let me ask you.
There's a Pavlov thing. You got to qualify. He got screwed. I know exactly what you're talking about. It have nothing to do with anything. The best thing you could be is rich, number one.
Yes.
The color thing is such bullshit. And by the way, white people have flags as they're Irish and German and whatever. So that people at top made these divisions on purpose. They flare them up whenever their pyramid scheme is collapsing. And then then you get gaslit when you go, hey, this just happened to me. And the thing is, you talk to anybody black, they're not going to say what you said. They're going to go, that's bullshit. Unless they're also white. I'm not talking about academics.
Well, let's see. What would Jordan...
But that's a generalization. That's a real generalization. I know white people. Half of my friends from childhood are dead. Suicide, drug overdose, raped by their parents. Like, I lived in Connecticut. So you got to be really careful when you make an overarching statement that white people have it better. Because I know white people that didn't live past the age of 3 years old. It's like... white babies die. White people get killed all the time.
Don't help me because someone else did well.
Slope. No, but it's really important because what you're doing is what leads to that. It's these little concessions. You go, sorry to hear that, but, and then it spirals out of control. And then we're at where we are today. Like, we have to be clear about it. If I was a black guy sitting right here, you would be like, are you fucking kidding me? You wouldn't dare say, you know what, but you could have gone to the NBA and some black people have it good. And Denzel Washington's a great actor. Will Smith is good. Dave Chappelle's the highest paid comedian of all time. Kevin Rock's one of the highest paid comedians of all time. Chris Rock, so maybe you wouldn't do that. And so I just want to be treated like everybody else would want to be treated.
You meant Kevin Hart, but here is
Kevin Hart.
Let's see what Jordan Peterson actually has to say about this.
Imagine if you were a black, trans, height-challenged, vegan, disabled, ambidextrous, peanut allergy-ridden, mentally challenged person. I'm Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. And this is my masterclass.
Look at the hair.
Cut! It's like, why in the fuck are we using the word master? It's like, no. It's like, really? It's like, it's comical. We're using outdated slavery terms. Really? It's like, I'm triggered. What about the people of color in here that are damn triggered? Life really is not about personal responsibility or starting a family or working hard. Move back, bucko, 6 feet. COVID is still a thing. No. It's about how many bloody pronouns you have. That's it, dead ass. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Z, zer, zer.
Yes, sir.
Z, zer, zer. You feeling triggered? You feeling safe? I'll be helping people master the craft of judging people by their skin color, not by their character. Robin DiAngelo, she once said, be less white. Bloody amazing what Martin Luther King did, It's really like far-right Nazi propaganda, Well, I have a dream, too. It's like, I have a dream white people will just sit down and shut up. I would teach to be more inclusive, even to the pedophiles. Excuse me, the MAPs, or minor attracted persons. They should have a seat at the table, too. Might be the kids' table, but let them sit down, let them eat. I'll be teaching you about all the 4,969 genders. Strap in. Like, these ideas have been living rent-free in my head for a long time. I'll be teaching you things from my new book, Beyond Teaching Straight White Males Their Pieces of Absolute Shit. Well, let's get to work, shall we?
Me? I'm Mike, and my pronouns are pronoun.
Well, comical. Mm-hmm. Well, there's nothing funny about comedy. Stalin, circa 1922, from the Gulags. One of my favorite quotes.
I don't feel so privileged. I'm more in shock. I got fired from my job because I was privileged. I don't get it.
You're helping combat racist racism.
By being discriminated against?
Wow. Cry me a gender-fluid river. Daniel, would you have sexual relations with this beautiful person?
Do you like surprises?
I will just go ahead and put you down for super, ultra, far-right MAGA transphobe.
Please don't do that.
What do you see here in this image?
Kitten?
White supremacy. Cis white male. How about this one?
Dog.
Even worse white supremacy. You little sissy boy. But this one here.
Cat again.
The knee on George Floyd's bloody neck. And that knee is yours. Bobby, why don't you tell us what real oppression sounds like?
Well, I just became CFO of my own company, woman-owned company, of course. Just bought a new Porsche, bought another house in South Beach, and another one in Miami. Okay. But I was misgendered at a holiday party.
Well,
it hurts.
Surprised she didn't take her own damn life. Greta Thunberg. I'm going to quote her right now and say, how dare you get down on one knee and give me 20 Black Lives Matters. Justice Smollett once said, white MAGA extremists won't even let a black gay man get a damn Subway sandwich at 2 a.m. in the middle of a goddamn snowstorm. It's like a miracle he even came up with that. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. I can't believe how goddamn fucking naive you could be. It's like, that ain't it, Chief. Can somebody get me an emotional support cat to pet, please? Goddamn patriarchy. If you're petting a cat, it's like, it's not even consensual. So forget that. Consider that rape as far as I'm concerned. That is feline rape. What? No. Somebody get me some imitation lobster, please. My blood sugar's plummeting. Man. Sorry. Oh, man. And go ahead and check your privilege at the door. Well, looks like the work has begun. Mm-hmm.
And there's your he's going to be all over the place.
All over the place.
Look at that. San Diego, Irvine, Los Angeles. I'm going to be out of town when you're here. That's too bad. Denver, Jacksonville, Tampa, all over the place. You're everywhere.
All over the place, yeah.
You're everywhere. Look at that.
Yeah. And JJ is the only agent that was willing to work with me. So I've been able to sell out for quite some time. So and there you go.
So I remember when I sent an email to JJ, and I said, "Hey, I'm looking to. I need an agent to book me. I sell a lot of tickets, and I can't. Me and my assistant can't handle all the work, right? Because we could." And so he calls me up and he goes, "Jimmy, I asked all my left-wing friends about you, and they all said you're a right-winger. And I asked all my right-wing friends about you, and they say you're a left-winger. What the hell are you?"
There you go. But also, who cares?
Yeah, why are you asking me this?
See, that's the thing. Who gives a fuck?
Why would they have any say? You don't align with our... What was the theater where our politics?
So I used to go to this place, Thalia Hall in Chicago. I used to sell it out, 600-seat theater. We sell it out a couple times a year. And we did that like 3 years in a row. And then they wouldn't return our email. This is before I started working with JJ. Mm-hmm. And so finally, Steph got them to return her email. And they just said, "No, we're not giving you an offer." And Steph was like, "Why? Can I ask you why?" She had to ask about 10 times. And finally, they just said, "You're not funny." Okay, that's not why that is. So then it was immediately apparent why it was, because the last time I was there, we were doing Forced to Vote, which I don't know if you know what that was, Tyler, but that exposed the squad, AOC, Jamal Bowman, and Ilhan Omar, and Pramila Jayapal, for them to be phonies. They're all phonies, and they're not really sticking up for the people that they ask for their votes. They're not sticking up for the communities of color they pretend to, or the downtrodden, or the people in the lower social class. They go along with the establishment and the oligarchy because it's good for their career, and they wouldn't even do what they campaigned on. So we exposed that in our show there, and we also exposed Russiagate as to being completely made up by the Clinton campaign and the FBI and the CIA. It was completely made up, and then the media just repeated it. And so we exposed that too, and we did that all on stage at the Thalia Hall, and it drove them fucking crazy. Plus, we told the truth about COVID. They can't handle any of it. And so they were done with me. And so even there was a place called another theater in Chicago. I went to this other theater, and I know the guy who books it. And he told me, he goes, "Sorry, Jimmy, they're not doing politics right now." "Oh, really? They're not doing politics? You mean if Bill Maher wanted to do a show at this theater, they would tell him no? If Louis Black wanted to do a show, they would tell him no? If Jon Stewart wanted to do a show, you're doing politics. You're just doing not my brand of politics."
Yeah,
what actually, Tyler, I take it as a badge of honor, because there's a lot of places wouldn't work. George Carlin got fired. Lenny Bruce couldn't work places, and so that actually means we're actually doing something. So if you're welcomed everywhere and you're quote unquote doing politics, you're not doing politics. You're doing established cold fucking pablum, and you're feeding shit back to them, right? And so I saw a comedian say something about you have to start. I saw him on a clip the other day that everybody has to have the same opinion of a premise or something like that. I'm like, no.
Who said that?
The joy is taking people who don't agree.
Oh, Andrew Jeselnik,
right? Wait, he said everybody should share the premise?
How did he say it?
He said he said everybody should like it. And I thought,
who paid to see me, or just the world?
He was I think he was criticizing Matt Rife's backlash for his joke, and basically he was saying, like, if it was a good joke, nobody would have complained about it.
People complain about good jokes all the time.
Even if it's a bad joke.
People hated George Carlin. People hated Lenny Bruce. People hate a lot of stuff.
No, I thought that was I'm never watching that guy again. That was fucking ridiculous.
It's just like the nerve when you. I don't know what in the hell. I mean, it don't have nothing to do with the topic for him to be doing. He's jealous of the kid. I don't know, but he got fired from the show.
What that was.
For celebrating a kid getting eaten by a shark. He did a dance number because a kid in Australia got eaten by a shark. No joke. Oh, Matt Rife's joke was good. He had people dressed like sharks, like the Stephen Colbert syringe dance, And then that's how his show got dropped because they got a little upset. The people in Australia about it to Comedy Central shows all over the world, and it was upsetting.
Well,
and for what?
there you go. There's equity, right? He's using equity. There should be an equitable outcome of your joke. No, you tell the joke in a room of strangers every night, and it's going to hit differently every night. And some nights my jokes everyone likes, and some it's 10%, and it doesn't matter. It's like,
so last night
are you taking a risk?
I was on stage last night at Flappers in Burbank, which I love that because it's actually the closest you could come to real people and doing a show in Los Angeles, right? So if you go to the other clubs in Hollywood, it's full of fucking Hollywood hipsters whose minds are poisoned by all that shit. But there you actually get regular people. And so I went up and I was doing my stuff about Israel, Palestine, the Ukraine war being bullshit, and about the vaccine. And half the crowd was cheering and half was kind of silent. And for some reason, that is more rewarding to me than if everybody loves me. If everybody loves me, I feel like, it's too easy. I'm preaching to the choir. But if there's some people in the crowd or even half that don't, that makes it more exciting for me. And that was one of my favorite sets I've ever done.
Jeselnik says that Andy Warhol said, I'm going to stop him right there. What? Andy Warhol, go stack soup, motherfucker.
You don't think
the fuck are you talking about? Andy Warhol said art is getting away with it.
Yeah,
Well,
you don't think that people went and saw
put
Andy
up paintings and then walked out? He didn't know.
He didn't get away with it. A bitch shot him.
He didn't know that somebody didn't go up to the painting and be like, "Fuck this soup."
That's right.
I say that about his soup. I still don't get what the hell. He had a wild wig. What's good about that?
Anyway, we got to go. This was supposed to be 15 minutes. And we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, are you recording this?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Come on.
Before Tyler's story of hope, we didn't know it was going to go this long.
None of this was supposed to be.
Dude, tell them at the cellar or wherever you see it in there that I called him a cunt for telling you not to do that. In fact, I want to know.
It's not just. I don't want to bring it's not this. I don't want to bring the cellar into it because it happens everywhere.
It's bad at the cellar if that happened. That's extra bad. Yeah, if it happened at the cellar. That's extra bad. That means the seller.
I mean, it happens everywhere. I posted about it on Twitter. I got eaten alive. I thought, I'm going to take a stand and say you shouldn't discriminate. It's like, fuck you, whitey. Go fuck yourself, you white piece of shit. It's like the most racist stuff ever. And support. Yeah, I got no support. I don't need it. I'll fight it on my own. But like, it's the comedy community. No, it's not.
No, it ain't. We're stand-ups. We're not improv.
Well, I tell you, so my version of this, I haven't experienced any of this stuff, but my version of it, I certainly
just did for your politics.
That's what I'm saying. I experienced it for COVID. I experienced it for Russiagate. I experienced it when I wouldn't vote for that bloodthirsty warmonger, liar, enemy of the people and the workers, Hillary Clinton. So and who cheated the progressives in 2016. So when I wouldn't do that, I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of opportunities. I used to have a show here on KPFK in Los Angeles, and I remember the executive producer of Modern Family tweeted at me, calling me fucking a right winger and a misogynist and all. And I'm like, oh, it's my favorite show. It's one of my favorite shows. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I love Modern Family. I thought it was hilarious. It made me laugh a lot. The last couple seasons sucked, but of course that's what happens with everybody except Jerry Seinfeld because he left at the right time.
I didn't watch it because I found out one of those gay guys isn't gay in real life, and I feel like that's wrong. That means he's just white.
So the fat guy wasn't gay?
No.
Yeah, fat guy straight.
Is that okay
I don't think so. I don't feel it is.
I don't think, but I mean, I think they're breaking their own rules. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a shit.
No, it started early enough where that was not until Tom Hanks said he would have never played the gay guy in Philadelphia, and that was wrong.
Would he still play a retarded guy?
So, all right. So let's say goodbye. Tyler Fisher, thanks for hijacking my show and making it all about...
That's what white guys do best.
That's what white guys do.
Thanks for colonizing the show,
You
Tyler.
colonized the show. You did. You're a settler. You're a white settler colonizer on the Jimmy Dore show. I hope you're happy. People go check out... Here's his dates. Go see his white supremacy if you want. That's what it's all about with these guys, especially the... Anyway, it's fine.
Want to hear a tweet for my own manager? They weeded out people they can't control, and anyone's an independent thinker. And Greg Giraldo, who's probably one of the greatest Latinx comics of all time.
Latinx.
And Patrice, who was black, they would have weeded them out. Even back then, when they were saying Lisa Lampanelli was good at comedy.
Been gone.
When I came in, the industry loved Lisa Lampanelli, who said the N-word, not non-vaccinated, the real one, and they all thought it was amazing because it was a woman saying racist things, boosted her up. I don't even know what the hell she does now because she literally can't do any of the things she used to say. I guess she goes on reality shows.
She doesn't tour anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, she better not, because her act is like a terrorist attack by the standards of today. I mean, it kind of was back then.
Thank God we can tour. You know, that's all I can say, because if I was only at the comedy clubs, it would be tough.
Dude, I had that same thing happen to me for a Quibi show, so I'm not going to sue about Quibi.
Okay, we got to go. Let's go to a break. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
All right, Tyler, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit